before we get into this video, this is February 1st, and if y'all don't know what that means, click off my channel. This is Black History Month. Shout out to my brothers and sisters watching the video, you know what I'm saying? Brooklyn Nets. I was wrong about the Brooklyn Nets in the sense of them having troubles on the offensive end because I didn't think the chemistry was there. For example, James Harden is an ISO god. He doesn't like passing the ball. He doesn't get nobody else involved on the perimeter. It's really him and who he's running the pick and roll with. It's very isolated and he likes to hold the ball. So the ball movement is very stagnant with the ball in his hands. Then you got Kyrie Irving, who's not going to be second or third fiddle to anybody. He wants to take the clutch shot. He wants to dribble the ball. He wants to be the leading point guard on the team. Then you got KD, who's not going to enforce his will on the game unless it comes to him. KD plays a very natural style of scoring the basketball. That's why you see KD always have 30 points a game. He never has a game where he has like 50 because KD doesn't force his shots. So I think that and everything else is going to be hard for the Nets to win games offensively, but boy was I wrong. That's the thing about analysts or me myself, you try to overcomplicate the game of basketball where the whole goal of basketball was to put that orange ball inside of that orange rim, and that's what the Nets know how to do on every type of level. They can hurt you from the pick and roll with James Harden, which is lethal. They can hurt you from isolation, which is lethal. They can hurt you from in-between game with Kyrie, with the floater, with the layup package, up and unders, all that. They can hurt you off the ball. KD coming off pin downs, KD coming off floppy sets, KD being KD, 7 foot, mismatches all everywhere on the court. Then you have two offensive masterminds in Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni. The offense is no problem. They are the best technically offense ever in history. I'm not joking. They're the best offense ever. They don't even run a scheme. They don't have no chemistry for real. They don't even run no special sets to get guys open, bro. I just see 3 niggas hooping and hooping well. Can put 135 points on anybody, but they gonna give up 134 points against anybody. A fucking all-star game. Players who had big performances against the Nets since James Harden has been traded there. Russell Westbrook had 41, who's been struggling. They said he was washed, and Russell Westbrook just annihilated the whole Brooklyn Net defense because they have no interior paint defense or no perimeter paint defense. Bam Adebayo, the same reason. DeAndre Jordan can't guard nobody in the phone booth. They have Jeff Green guard Bam Adebayo when Jeff Green is like 38 and guarding prime 23-year-old, 24-year-old NBA players. That's not going to work out. Then you got the young bull, Colin Sexton, dropping 41 on the Brooklyn Nets and scored or assisted on the last 20 points in overtime, I think. Mind you, these guys are having career years, career games against the Brooklyn Nets. That's not a recipe for success. So what you think gonna happen when Joel Embiid, when Anthony Davis see the Brooklyn Nets marked on their calendar? They're gonna rest the night before, maybe 2 nights before. They're gonna come back fully healthy, 200% healthy, and then they're gonna drop 195 points on the Brooklyn Nets combined. And I say these players because the Brooklyn Nets have to probably get past the Lakers or the Sixers in the playoffs. Joel Embiid is playing like an MVP candidate. It don't matter who is in front of him. Joel Embiid is still dropping 30 points a game. Now imagine having Jeff Green in front of him. Imagine having DeAndre Jordan in front of him. Y'all gonna let Joel Embiid turn to prime Shaq mixed with prime Hakeem. That's okay. Brooklyn Net fans, everybody get it together, bro. So with all this offense that they have since James Harden has been traded, they now have the worst defense in the history of basketball. And I'm not lying. They have the worst defense ever. Think about the worst defensive team you know. The Brooklyn Nets are worse. Now, I know y'all saying, well, they have a good offense. They don't need defense for real. Nobody plays defense in the NBA. That's a lie. Most teams who won the chip are good defensive teams. The last 20 years, only 2 teams were not ranked top 10 in defense. The 0-1 Lakers. Now think about it. The 0-1 Lakers, they had Shaquille O'Neal, who could play some interior defense. Yes, he couldn't move on the pick and roll, but the game was so different back then. Everything was inside or in the mid-range, and Shaq was big as hell, so he could affect every shot. They have Kobe Bryant on the perimeter, who was a great defender. They had Derek Fisher, Rick Fox. They had the personnel to be a top 10 defense or defense that know how to lock you down in the playoffs. Same with the 17 Warriors, another team. Draymond Green, KD, Clay, Iggy. They have defenders all across the board. Yes, they wasn't top 10, but they had the players to lock you down if needed to be. Like, it wasn't like they didn't have players to guard people. They did. That's how they won a goddamn chip. The Brooklyn Nets have nobody, even if they want to play some defense, to even put on somebody. Like, if Damian Lillard is going off for the Blazers against the Nets, who are they going to put on Damian Lillard? Bruce Brown or small forward? If Paul George or Kawhi Leonard is going off against the Nets, who are they going to put on him? KD? Jeff Green? James Harden? That's not, they have no defensive stoppers on their team. So it's not a scheme that they run it, that their defense is so bad. They literally don't have the players to even be competent on that end. Need at least an average defense to even win a chip. I don't care how good your offense is. It doesn't matter when each of your star players are putting up 30 and then they're giving them 32 on the other end. I'm not putting Joe Harris on no LeBron James. Like, KD sometimes tries on defense, you know what I'm saying? I get KD, he's long as hell, he's 7 feet, long arms, he can try on that end. Kyrie doesn't at all. I don't expect Kyrie to try on that end. James Harden doesn't at all unless it's in the post. James Harden has the best chance to even become a decent defender. I think Kyrie is so far gone, he don't even want to play defense no more. Even if all those three players still play defense to the best of their ability, it's still not going to work. They're not physical athletes that can just affect the game defensively. Joe Harris is not guarding nobody. DeAndre Jordan can't guard a stick. Jeff Green is 38. He can't guard nobody either. You got Jeff Green running small ball 5. Are you dumb? Bruce Brown is the only one, and Bruce Brown is a net negative on offense. Landry Shamet. Now they signed Iman Shumpert, who I think if he can hit that 3 ball, he will play a lot of minutes in the playoffs, because if he can't, he's going to get played off the floor in the playoffs. So Iman Shumpert might just be a reach in that signing, because Iman hasn't played in basketball in I don't know how long. If Trevor Ariza gets buyed out by the Thunder, I haven't seen Trevor Ariza all year. Maybe he wants to get that buyout. He wants to compete for another championship, and I think that would be a great pickup. Hope somebody just to move their feet. Somebody. I heard Andre Drummond wants to buy out from the Cavs. It's hard because Andre Drummond is getting a $100 million contract. It's hard to buy out that, and if he goes to the Nets, but I don't think that fixes nothing. It might fix rebound problems, but defensively, it's not going to change your defense. You're not going to go from the worst defense ever to average with Andre Drummond. You might go from the worst defense ever to maybe like the 9th worst defense ever with Andre Drummond, which is improvement, but I don't think it's worth the buyout. Yeah, man, Brooklyn Nets are a great team. Offensively, they are amazing to watch. All the games have been entertaining because they just give up a lot of points from the other end. You think the other team is doing something different, but no, they just doing regular things, and the Brooklyn Nets can't guard it. But I like seeing KD and Kyrie hoop at the same time. It's very appealing, and James Harden is actually hooping better in Brooklyn than he was in Houston, at least in my opinion. I just didn't like how he ran his offense in Houston, but yeah, man, Brooklyn Nets better figure out a goddamn thing to do, or they're cooked. But that'll be all for this video, bro. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that big fat red subscribe button. I will be trying to do daily uploads. And yeah, man, I'm out, man. Peace.